All right, so it's Black History Month, and we wanted to like dive into something a little different this year.
Okay.
So we're gonna check out this sermon called "I Am Beloved"
Okay.
from the Revelation Truth Center.
Mm.
And it's not like your typical Sunday service.
Mm-hmm.
This one really makes you think about self-love and resilience,
Right.
and like the power of history.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
These sites.
What do you think makes this deep dive a little special?
Well, it's really interesting how the sermon connects personal faith with like the Black American experience
Mm,
by using the biblical Shulamite woman as a symbol. And this woman like boldly declared her beauty
right.
despite societal standards, just like the Black is Beautiful movement.
Yeah, I love that parallel. And even the title "I Am Beloved."
Right?
That speaks to like both the personal affirmation of faith,
Yeah.
but also this celebration of Black heritage. It seems like the sermon emphasizes finding strength from within,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're facing external challenges.
Absolutely. It says that true strength comes from like a deep sense of self-worth,
I love that.
from that inner voice that says you are worthy,
Yes.
no matter what's going on around you.
Love it. So before we like get into the heart of the sermon,
Yeah.
the speaker kind of takes this detour
Okay.
about how history is transmitted
Interesting.
and breaks it down into 5 different ways.
Wow, 5. Okay.
Yeah, 5.
I'm curious.
I know, right? So
Go to me.
he talks about oral tradition,
Okay.
written records, archaeological finds,
Hmm.
cultural practices,
Right.
and even digital media.
Wow. He really covers all the bases.
I know, right? It's like this reminder that history can come at us from anywhere.
That's so true.
Yeah, and he even shares this personal story about his family's claim to Cherokee heritage
Oh, wow.
that was passed down orally for generations.
Okay.
But then it like hit a dead end on Ancestry.com.
Oh, no.
I know, right?
That's got to be frustrating.
And I think a lot of people listening can probably relate to that,
Yeah.
especially if they've,
Tried to research their own family tree.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like history isn't just about, those dry dates and facts in a textbook.
Mhm.
It's also about like these personal stories
Right.
and interpretations.
And how we see ourselves.
Yeah, and how we see the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The speaker brings in this unexpected figure,
Okay. Who is it?
the Shulamite woman from the Song of Solomon.
Interesting choice.
Okay. So I have to admit, I haven't read that book of the Bible in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute for me too.
So refresh my memory.
Sure.
Who is she?
Well, the Song of Solomon is like this beautiful love poem
Okay.
filled with symbolism. And the Shulamite woman, her name means peace or perfect one in Hebrew.
Okay.
She's this incredible figure who boldly proclaims her beauty,
Mm-hmm.
even when it doesn't align with society standards.
Okay. So we're already seeing that duality here.
Yes.
That personal affirmation.
Yeah.
But then also that cultural connection that we were talking about before.
It's all intertwined,
Right.
And there's this powerful line in the Song of Solomon where she says,
What is it?
I am very dark but lovely, O daughters of Jerusalem.
Wow.
Powerful, right?
I'm so intrigued by this. Can you elaborate on how her story connects to the Black American experience?
Yeah, so the sermon draws these really incredible parallels.
Okay, I'm listening.
So first you've got the Shulamite woman, and a lot of Black Americans, they've had to fight for the recognition of their inherent worth.
Right.
To declare, I am beautiful, I am worthy,
Yeah.
even when society is telling them otherwise.
Yeah, it's like that refusal to be defined by someone else's standards,
Exactly. And the Shulamite woman, she really embodies that spirit
Mhm.
of embracing who you are,
Yes.
flaws and all,
Yeah.
which resonates so deeply with the Black is Beautiful movement.
Right.
It's about challenging those who try to define beauty in such a narrow way.
Yeah, it's like she's radiating this energy.
Yeah.
That's just like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Exactly. Own it.
So what else does the sermon highlight
Okay.
about Black history, particularly during Black History Month?
So the sermon kind of walks us through the evolution of Black History Month from its beginnings as Negro History Week in 1926
Right.
to its official recognition in 1976.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long journey of remembering and celebrating the achievements of Black Americans.
Yeah, but it's interesting because the speaker also mentions calls to abolish Black History Month in 2024.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too.
Yeah, what's the reasoning behind that?
Well, some argue that having a dedicated month can unintentionally kind of ghettoize Black history,
Okay.
like suggesting that it's separate from American history as a whole.
Hmm.
So they're advocating for a more integrated approach
Yeah.
where Black history is woven into the fabric of how we teach and learn American history year-round.
Interesting. So it's not necessarily about erasing Black history,
No, not at all.
but it's about finding a more inclusive way.
Exactly. To honor it and to celebrate it.
Yeah. And then the speaker adds another layer to this
What's that?
by pointing out that other groups also have dedicated months for recognition,
Right. Like Pride Month.
exactly like Pride Month.
Yeah.
So it kind of begs the question,
Yeah.
are we moving towards a future where everyone feels seen
Mhm.
and celebrated all year round?
Yeah.
Or do we still need these dedicated months to make sure that happens?
That's a really big question
Yeah.
to ponder.
A lot to unpack there.
I think so.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, let's go back to the Shulamite woman.
Okay.
You mentioned that the sermon draws some powerful parallels
Yes.
between her story and the story of Black America.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm really curious to explore those connections further.
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Yeah.
So the sermon highlights three main parallels between the Shulamite woman and the Black American experience.
Okay.
The first one is this shared theme of pride
Okay.
and their identity and beauty.
Both the Shulamite woman and Black Americans have had to fight for that recognition
Right.
of their inherent worth,
Yeah.
to declare, I am beautiful, I am worthy,
Yes.
even when society told them otherwise.
That refusal to be defined by someone else's narrow standards,
Totally.
it's so powerful.
It's about defining yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What are the other parallels?
The second parallel is resilience
Okay.
in the face of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
So think about everything that the Black community has endured
Oh,
in this country.
It's a lot.
I mean, from slavery to the Tulsa Race Massacre
Right.
and beyond.
Yeah.
And yet, time and again, they've shown this incredible strength and ability to rebuild.
And the Shulamite woman faced her own set of challenges, too.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, societal judgment,
For sure.
prejudice.
That must have been so difficult to navigate.
Right.
But she never let those external forces dim her light.
Good for her.
Mm.
And that leads us to the third parallel.
Yes.
Okay.
The deep spiritual and cultural connections
Mhm.
that bind both the Shulamite woman
Right.
and the Black community.
When you think about the role of the Black church in the civil rights movement,
Yes.
it's clear that faith has played this huge role
huge.
in the fight for social justice.
Yeah, it's that deep well of strength and inspiration,
Yeah.
drawing on that shared history
Mm-hmm.
and faith to fuel the struggle for equality.
I love that. That brings us to one of those powerful parts of the sermon.
Okay.
Its message about love.
Love.
There's that quote where he
Yeah.
says, you teach people how to love. Love doesn't try to change people. Loves people.
Such a powerful statement.
So powerful.
Mhm.
And if we connect that back to the Shulamite woman,
Yeah.
she knew her worth,
Mm-hmm.
even when society didn't.
Right.
And that inner confidence, that self-love,
Right.
made her lovable.
It's attractive.
Yeah. Do you think that unwavering self-love was also a form of defiance?
Ooh, that's interesting.
In the face of all those societal pressures?
I think it definitely could be interpreted that way.
Yeah.
She refused to conform to those expectations that
Yeah.
didn't align with her own sense of self.
That makes me think about what this means for all of us.
Right. Yeah.
What does this teach us about building healthy relationships?
Exactly.
Can we truly love others if we don't first love ourselves?
That's a really crucial question that the sermon makes us ask ourselves.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of another point in the sermon where he gets really honest and vulnerable.
Okay.
He admits that he's still figuring out
Oh, wow.
what it means to be American,
Yeah.
especially as a Black man.
That vulnerability is so striking.
Yeah,
It acknowledges how complex identity is
right.
in a nation that's still dealing with, its history
Yeah,
of racial injustice.
right. And it resonates with that idea that we're all on this journey,
Right.
We're constantly evolving and learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then towards the end of the sermon, he offers this quote: "To have pride in one's ethnicity and race is to embrace the entirety of one's history, both the triumphs and the challenges, and to live unapologetically."
Wow, that's powerful.
Right.
It really is. That's a call to action that
Yeah.
goes beyond any specific race or ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
It's about owning our stories, celebrating our heritage, and advocating for a future
Yeah.
where everyone feels loved and valued.
And that's where he connects it back to the theme of unity, right?
Yes.
He argues that we can't truly make America great without coming together.
Absolutely. And it leads to that question the sermon leaves us with.
Yeah, what is...
What does unity look like to you? It's an invitation to reflect on how we can contribute to a more just and equitable society.
We were talking earlier about like the parallel between the Shulamite woman
Right.
and the Black American experience.
Yeah.
And he specifically mentioned 3 examples of how those connections play out in history. He highlighted the Black is Beautiful movement, the resilience shown during slavery and the Tulsa Race Massacre, and then the pivotal role of the Black church in the Civil Rights Movement.
So many powerful examples.
I know. Can we unpack those a bit further?
Yeah.
Starting with the Black is Beautiful movement.
Absolutely. So for so long, Eurocentric beauty standards dominated media and society as a whole.
Right. It's everywhere.
And the Black is Beautiful movement was this powerful shift.
Yeah.
You know, reclaiming beauty and celebrating natural hair and features.
It was about so much more than just aesthetics, though, right?
Absolutely.
It was like challenging these deeply ingrained societal beliefs that equated beauty with whiteness.
It was a rejection of those harmful narratives and a powerful assertion of Black pride and self-love, which echoes the Shulamite woman's bold declaration, I am dark but lovely.
And then we have these like incredibly difficult periods in history, like slavery, the Tulsa Race Massacre.
So much pain.
It's just mind-blowing to think about the strength and resilience it took to survive those atrocities.
The speaker emphasized that despite those brutal conditions of slavery, Black people maintain their dignity and humanity.
And in the face of the devastating Tulsa Race Massacre, they rebuilt their community.
Yes, they did.
And continued to thrive.
It's amazing.
Those are such powerful examples of the human spirit's ability to persevere.
Yes.
Even in the darkest of times.
They speak to like a collective strength and determination that's just woven into the fabric of Black history.
And then, of course, there's the impact of the Black church in the Civil Rights Movement.
Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. Drew on their faith to inspire and mobilize communities, demanding equality and justice.
It's a testament to that deep connection
Yes.
between spirituality and social justice.
That's right. The Black church served as like a source of strength,
Yeah.
solace, and a rallying point for the movement.
And it's incredible to think about like the courage and resilience of those who stood up against such overwhelming odds.
I know.
Fueled by their faith and their unwavering belief in a better future.
It gives me chills.
Earlier, the speaker talked about oral tradition.
Yeah.
What are some examples of those stories that have been like really influential in shaping the Black American experience?
Well, there are countless stories, you know, both personal and collective,
Yeah.
that have been passed down through generations.
Right.
They often carry these important lessons
Yeah.
about resilience, faith, the enduring spirit of the Black community. One powerful example is the story of the Underground Railroad.
Oh, yeah. Those stories of escape from slavery
Right.
often involved incredible acts of bravery and selflessness.
It's amazing what people did to help each other.
Right. Both from those escaping and those who risked their lives to help.
Exactly. And those stories weren't just about like individual journeys. They were about collective resistance.
Yeah.
The pursuit of freedom.
And I imagine those stories served as a source of hope
Oh, yeah.
and inspiration for future generations.
Absolutely. They demonstrated that even in the face of like overwhelming oppression, freedom was possible.
It's amazing how those stories passed down through oral tradition can have such a lasting impact.
They become a part of the collective memory, you know,
Yeah.
shaping how we understand our history and our place in the world.
And it's not just stories of resilience and resistance.
Right.
There's also stories of joy,
Yes.
celebration, the richness of Black culture,
Exact.
passed down through music, art, and dance.
It's beautiful.
As we're talking about this,
Yeah.
it makes me think about the importance of continuing to share those stories,
Oh, for sure.
you know, to ensure that they're not lost to time.
Absolutely. Each generation has this responsibility to preserve those stories, to learn from them, and to find new ways to share them with the world.
It's about keeping that connection to the past alive and ensuring that those voices continue to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this thread, you know,
Yeah.
connecting us all, reminding us that we're part of something bigger.
Yes, and that brings us back to that question from the sermon.
Right.
What does unity look like to you?
It's such a good question.
It's not about erasing our differences.
Right.
It's about finding ways to, bridge those divides and build a more inclusive society.
Right. It's about recognizing that our shared humanity is more powerful than anything that might try to separate us.
Absolutely.
It's about listening to each other's stories.
Yes.
Acknowledging our shared history. Working together to create a future where everyone feels loved and valued.
I love that.
This deep dive has been so insightful.
It really has.
I feel like we covered so much.
We did.
From biblical love stories to the complexities of identity and the ongoing journey of Black America.
It's amazing how the sermon tied all of those things together.
I know, right?
It connected those seemingly different ideas in such a thought-provoking way.
It's a good reminder that history isn't just about, dates and facts. It's also about understanding ourselves and our place in the world.
And that personal journeys are just as important as those grand narratives that we often focus on.
Totally. And that love in its truest form is about embracing who we are, flaws and all.
Yes.
Then extending that same grace and acceptance to others.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity and working together to create a more just and equitable world for everybody.
So as we continue to celebrate Black History Month, let's keep that question in mind.
Yes.
What does unity look like to you?
Let's keep that conversation going.
Share your thoughts on social media using #TheDeepDive.
We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time.
Yes.
Keep diving deep.